upfront, that you are very clear on what you want to achieve. What problem are you trying to solve by implementing the performance management system? It can't just be that others are doing it or we need to have it. There need to be a solid business reason why you want performance management. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you need it, but there must be a problem that you're trying to solve. And some of these problems could include that the performance of the business is not doing well. The business may be doing well, but you want to sustain that performance. And you see that if you were to put a performance management system in place, you may be able to collectively harness the contribution of the various stakeholders in your organization in order to then achieve what you want as a business. So that must be very clear up front. There is no system or intervention that just comes because simply people want it. It must be based on a business reason. What problem are you trying to solve? And how do you know if that problem has been solved? That must be very clear up front, and you must have a before and after kind of situation. Even as you go to talk to your colleagues in executive, you must be very clear. What is it that we want to solve as an organization by bringing in performance management system? It can't just be we want it or others are doing it, as I have already indicated. So that's very clear. Okay, so the first challenge with performance management is what is it? Okay, it's defined in various ways, but there's a lot of scientific research that has been done by the CIPD, this is CIPD UK, and also by the Center for Evidence-Based Management. And this evidence is readily available. If you want the actual scientific papers, we can share with you. And the reason why we are highlighting this is that in whatever we do, we start with what has been found in terms of research. We are not looking at surveys. We are actually looking at scientific research from peer-reviewed journals. That is a good starting point. There's nothing wrong with getting the other kind of evidence, like your surveys and everything, they add on. You can still get, there's a lot of information around that, but we, in our approach, we always start to say, what does scientific evidence say? And what are the gaps? What works and what doesn't? That kind of situation. Okay, so when you look at performance management, it's defined scientifically in three kind of categories. The first one, it includes a task performance. Is the person delivering on what they're supposed to do in a particular job? If you're supposed to produce something, some output, are you producing that kind of output? That's the core and probably the most frequent that we see, especially in the past 10 years. With the advent of results-based kind of management, we are seeing that there is more in-role performance assessments that are coming in. So the person must be able to deliver according to what they say they are going to do in a particular job. That's what is called in-role performance. Then the next one is contextual performance, which is called citizenship behavior. We are saying, yes, the person is delivering. Are they working together with others? Are they collaborating? Or the support that the person is giving and receiving from other people can also be incorporated in performance, because it does help. You can have someone producing results by probably destroying your customer relationships with your customers, and all those things must be taken into consideration. Whether the weights or whatever you want to prioritize, that really depends on the context and the organization that you work for. The last one is what is called adaptive performance. This is about learning and innovation. It has been found that if you ignore that, people also tend to not to pay attention to that. So you want people who adapt to the environment. You can perform today, but the situation may change tomorrow. Does the person have the capacity, and are they working around those issues to make sure that if things change in the next 1 year or so, they should still be able to develop? This kind of performance rarely assessed, rarely worked on, but if you go back to scientific research, they actually indicate that this is how you must look at performance, how you want to prioritize the different areas. I would assume that your in-role performance, where you're actually looking at your output, the actual task performance will probably be the priority. Then the others can come in various formats that you may want to look at. So when you look at performance, it's multidimensional and it's context dependent, because performance in one context may differ from your performance in another. So outcomes and behavior both matter in performance, but they may not carry the same kind of importance and priority. So there is no single definition for every job. So when you are measuring performance, there are various ways of doing it. You can have supervisors rating you, others use peer review, like your 360, especially on the behavioral side. You can use your 360 assessment. Then and even both the 360 will encompass your supervisor, the peers, and many others. In some cases, people include customers. So supervisors can also rate you on the objective side of performance. And these are the various ways of looking at that. And these have got various validity and reliability issues. Remember, when we're talking about reliability, saying you're consistently measuring what you're supposed to measure. Okay, and validity, we are saying whatever instrument you are using to measure performance, or whatever construct you are measuring against performance, is actually predicting the correct construct. Okay, so the interesting research has been done to look at the correlation between subjective and objective measures. As you can see, the correlation coefficient is very low at 0.3, which means that these are, while they're interrelated, they are not interchangeable. So they really measure different things. That's why the correlation is extremely low. But the aim for when you are measuring performance is to reduce bias, because there's lots of bias in assessing performance. So what is the process in performance management? What are the core processes in performance management? These apply across whatever system. At this stage, we really don't care what kind of system you're using, but you can see that goal setting is critical. There's no way you can talk about performance management without goal setting. Others prefer to call it objective setting, whatever you call it. A goal and an objective, they're basically the same when you look at it. You are looking at what exactly do you want to do and what output do you want to achieve that is personified through targets, which is the desired level of performance. And I'll talk about it very soon. So there must be a process of goal setting, and people get it wrong in a very big way in goal setting, because they tend to set activity goals, they don't set output goals. A lot of issues happen there, and people end up just doing whatever is easy to do. The next part is feedback. There must be a feedback mechanism within a performance management system, so that people know, are they doing well? And if they're not doing well, how are you doing? How are you helping them? If they're doing well, what is going to happen to them? That's kind of feedback. So feedback matters in performance management, but obviously there are challenges with that kind of feedback. In performance appraisals, we are now documenting and say, where are we in relation to what we wanted to achieve? This could be your objective performance management, which is task performance. It could be contextual. It could be learning kind of performance and innovation. Sorry. Then the coaching, and then developing tracking. If you find that there are gaps in how someone is performing, you must then be able to take corrective measures. And the process must all be evidence-based. What has been found with goal setting is that for goals to work, there must be challenging goals, and those are the only ones that have improved performance. If the goals are not challenging, there's a lot of research that has been done by Locke and Latham and many others who have followed up on goal setting, and they found that if the goals are not challenging, the performance does not improve. But this tend to work obviously in very straightforward kind of simple, and also when individuals are committed. What they also found is that in the CIPD summary of what works and what doesn't, they also found that in complex task-specific goals tend to reduce flexibility. So if it's a very complex task, which we find very few of them are actually very complex, you may need to be a bit broader. That's what the research says there. Then monitoring and goal progress tend to boost motivation. There's a lot of research around that. You need to make sure that there is monitoring, feedback, and everything. And this is some of the things that we're going to talk about when you go into the automated system and goal attainment. The feedback. A lot of people blanketly always talk about feedback. There's a lot of research also done around feedback. Feedback definitely improves performance in only 50 to 60% of the cases. Look at that, in only 50 to 60% of the cases. And this is an amalgamation of scientific studies that have been done in the form of meta-analytic studies to show that, yes, we overdwell on feedback, but the catch is that the feedback is mostly poorly delivered, and there's no value in that feedback because it's poorly delivered. to the individual recipients who are supposed to reduce that feedback. And this is a massive, massive area for HR professionals to really address the issue of feedback. It's done haphazardly. Most of the time, my experience in the past 20 years or so, you find that the feedback is done haphazardly, not planned, targeted at the individual rather than targeting what has not been achieved. So there's a whole lot of scientific evidence on how you can structure feedback in order for it to be effective. But I do think that this is not probably given the right priority in performance management. Then the other issue is that when performance management is linked to pay, appraisals tend to get biased. There's lots of distortions. Even if you are using objective measures, there's a lot of distortions that you find there. Ratings are distorted due to power, politics, and rater traits. Either the rater or the rater doesn't like the person that is being rated. But there's also a lot of guidance around how you can deal with these biases. We've already talked about the issue of biases. So what is the solution? If you're going to run any performance management system, invest in a lot of training, especially on goal setting. Normally, I know people don't have time, they want to do an hour or so. I would say if you really want, especially at the top, dedicate 1 to 2 solid days. They may not be consecutive days to training your CEO, including the top executive on goal setting, giving feedback, coaching and development coaching, which is basically developing development plans for the people based on the performance feedback or output that we have. The other way is really to automate the process, which is something that we are going to talk about. Here is another big one that will also come from research, is that performance management failures result also from lack of strategic alignment. You find the people don't set the goals properly. So the first step is you must go to your strategy. If you do have a strategy, if you don't have a strategy, maybe it's in your head, you must then go and say, what are our top 10 priorities as an organization? And those top 10 priorities must then be cascaded down into goals, starting with the CEO, then you cascade down to everyone within the organization. There will be vertical and horizontal alignment that will be required to do that. But most of the time, this process is done haphazardly. People don't really pay attention to it, or they don't invest enough time and resources to make sure that this process is handled properly. But it's a massive, massive process. When not handled properly, it tends to then affect how performance management is implemented. Okay, we talked about adaptive contextual performance, so I'll not go into that. And also the issue of measures and things like that. So what is the consequence of poorly designed performance management system? They create fear, disengagement, basically dysfunctional behavior. People complain and nothing happens. There's no impact of the performance management system. We did the research. This is through a survey. Obviously, it's not a random sample that we used of HR professionals. We find that close to about 50% of those HR professionals say their system is not working. And we tend to collaborate with other research findings that really people, in some cases, actually 80%, especially if you go to the employees, they actually think it's a useless process. There is no value coming out of the performance management system. Largely as a result of some of the reasons that I have already highlighted. So the HR professionals and executives, they've got a lot of work to do. But I do know that people want to take shortcuts because the reason why they want to take shortcuts is that because they have not clearly defined the business problem that they want to solve through a performance management system. And they have a predefined key indicators that we are going to look at and say, if we succeed, these are the things that are going to change from where we are now as a business to where we want to go. And those measures, those indicators must always be business indicators, not HR indicators. Those are the things that we require. So whether you're using whatever system, but in this case, when we do the demo, we're going to show you that we are using the balance scorecard, and we don't say it's the best. There could be other system that we have. But the core issue in any system that you can think of, from the research that we have done as IPC, not today only, for years, and we've been tracking what has been found through research. If you don't work on your goal setting, as indicated in the research, you still fail. If you don't work on your feedback system, you still fail. If you don't work on your tracking system, you still fail. If you don't work on your coaching system, you still fail. If you don't work on developmental issues in order to bridge the gaps that are being found as a result of performance assessment, you still fail. If you don't work on your performance assessment ratings, you still fail. There's a lot of other things that I have excluded because of time. So You'll find that when you use the balance scorecard, you need to have a structure that says the goal. Remember, we talked about the goal. The goal is a statement of intent. It always starts with a verb. Then you've got your measures of KPI, poorly done most of the time. Vanity measures are used instead of actually value-adding measures are used there. The target, always misunderstood. The target is the desired level of performance. Some prefer to have a baseline, which is where they are or what they consider to be the bare minimum. Then they have a stretch. Then the target period captures the time element that within which that goal or KPI or target must be achieved. Very critical. Then you must also have a reporting frequency. So that's the structure that we use when we are doing this. There are many others. If you go to the surveys that have been done globally, you will notice that there's lots of information that shows why performance management systems are failing, and we want to be able to help you. So I'm going to switch now to the system and show you what the system can do. Let me just reshare my screen. Just hold on, let me, yeah. Shido, confirm you can see the performance manager?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thank you. So I've jumped David. Sorry, David, I think you can share first. So.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nguwi.
You can proceed and share once you're done, then I can show the demo quickly.
All right, sure. Thank you. Chido, please confirm you can see my slides.
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you so much. All right, good morning, team. My name is David. I'm just going to cover a few things with regards to comparisons between manual systems and automated systems. So traditionally, most organizations have been managing performance data in different platforms, be it pen and paper, Excel spreadsheets, or web-based applications. So I'm just going to cover a few challenges of the traditional approaches, which cover pen and paper as well as spreadsheets. The first point being that most of these systems are a bit manual, time-consuming, and are an administrative burden. Sometimes when people are asked to prepare performance reports, it can take from several days to even weeks, sometimes months, depending on the level of reporting. Then it's difficult to connect individual effort to intended business outcomes within these manual systems. There are no ready platforms for comparing whatever tasks or projects we are completing and their impact on the intended business outcomes, which also speaks to the next point of lack of real-time insights rather. So whenever you're dealing with manual systems of processing performance data, normally data is then updated in batches over a period, whereas with automated systems, you can see real-time insights, which means whenever you input data, you can easily see an updated report of the trends around a particular measure or a goal. Then there's an issue of inadequate data protection and security controls. It's not a secret that it's difficult to secure information that is in pen and paper or within Excel spreadsheets, which means people that are not cleared might end up seeing information they are not supposed to see. And because of the administrative burden within these systems, they normally also lead to employee dissatisfaction and disengagement. So that being said, we then look at why we should actually automate our performance management process. I will just cover a few points so that I don't preempt some of the advantages you are going to see when Mr. Nguwi is going to take you through the system. So the first call to action will be the issue of time savings, accuracy, objectivity, and data for decision making. So with automated systems, all routine tasks will be automated. Data will be a bit more accurate, and then you're actually able to make objective performance decision within the system, and you have readily data support your decisions. And also the thing about data is it's garbage in, garbage out. So if you make data on inaccurate data, you're also likely to make inaccurate decisions. Hence, automation will ensure that you actually make decisions using refined data that has been validated as well. Then there's the issue of meets the increased demands for agility and data-driven decisions. In the past, organizations were okay to wait until the end of the year to understand performance results. But with the way the global economy is now very much volatile and dynamic, it's important that we maintain some levels of agility with regards to performance reporting. That means we are supposed to track and keep pulse on performance as frequent as daily, weekly, monthly, and be able to take corrective actions before it's too late. So with automated systems, we're able to meet this demand for regular performance reports and insights. Then we are also in the era of the advent of artificial intelligence. Organizations at different levels of adopting it. Some are still exploring it. Some have at an intermediate level. Some have fully adopted and are scaling up. So with automated performance management system, you actually are able to leverage on artificial intelligence to discover performance insights, to identify performance gaps, and to get recommendations for effective ways of addressing performance gaps. Then consistently deliver forward-looking and growth-oriented reviews. If you look at manual and traditional ways of managing performance, they are backward-looking. They are looking at lag indicators where you look at results when the event has already occurred. But automated systems will give you a predictive capability where you're actually able to predict undesirable performance outcomes and correct them before it's too late. So that's how you then deliver forward-looking growth-oriented reviews. And the primary purpose of performance is to ensure that everyone grows with the organization in terms of capabilities, in terms of delivering on results. So with automated systems, you're able to actually then be able to ensure that you leverage on performance reviews to have growth discussions with your teams. Then I'm just going to cover about 5 key pillars of automated performance management systems. And you're actually going to be able to see them in action as Mr. Nguwi takes you through our automated solution. So pillar number one, goal setting and alignment. With automated performance management systems, you're able to streamline the creation of your goals, cascading them to your departments, teams, and individuals, and then tracking progress across the whole organization. Then the issue of continuous feedback and coaching speaks to the point that I was talking about earlier on, where you want to ensure that you get regular reports that will ensure that you're also able to give regular feedback to your teams and also receive regular feedback from peers as well. Be it you are tracking performance by looking at achievement of KPI targets using 360-degree appraisal systems where you get feedback from your peers, subordinates, and supervisors or managers. And also checking the issue of completion of strategic initiatives such as action plans, etc. Then the issue of performance reviews and evaluations. With automated systems, they embed features that allow you to approve and sign off on performance plans, track progress, automatically rate achievement as soon as people input their targets and actuals, to ensure that there is a consistent and standardized way of collecting and aggregating relevant performance data to give you a holistic view of each and every business unit, department, and individual's performance. Then the issue of reporting and analytics is also key in automated performance processes. With automated systems, you are able to see interactive dashboards that will show you real-time insights into performance trends that you can also drill down to the last level. You see performance, we have different levels: operational, for people at shop floor level, departmental, strategic, and so forth. Within this system, you're able to see a root cause analysis of where the problem is actually starting from and be able to take corrective action. You actually see some of these features at work within the system. Then development and growth being the most important pillar of these systems is the ability to leverage on performance data to identify specific development areas for your teams, being able to integrate the system with your internal learning management systems so that you can come up with personalized training and development paths or plans for your teams. Check the issue of career pathing, learning curve, and so forth from the time where you hire people, onboard them, up to the point where they're actually fully productive, and where you prepare them for their next role, the issue of succession planning and so forth. All these are things that can actually be managed within what? An automated performance management system. That being said, these are the five key pillars of automated systems. I just want to dive through a few benefits of automating. Some of them will actually address the pain points that I spoke about earlier with regards to manual systems. Let's start with data accuracy. Automated systems by design have got inbuilt input controls that will ensure that you validate that the information that you're entering is of the correct format and category. The issue of multitasking. It's difficult for your teams to be collaborating around a spreadsheet, updating their goals, targets, actuals, and so forth. But within an automated system, this can actually be done, where people can actually enter data to the same database simultaneously using different user forms on different machines. Let's go to the issue of security. With automated systems, there are access controls that ensure that people only get to see what they're supposed to see over time. Then the issue of mobility. Most of these systems are actually cloud-based, which means you can actually interact with them on your mobile devices, on your PCs, within and outside the office. Then several inbuilt features. You're actually able to import and export data from the system using different forms where you can actually get information from data warehouses, Microsoft Excel, and so forth. And then the issue of disaster recovery. The good thing about automated systems is that they're cloud-based, therefore backup is done outside your premises by your service providers. So you're actually able, if anything is to happen within your premises, be it fire, disaster, or anything, a backup of all the records that you need will be there somewhere in a different location and safely secured for you to only just retrieve and continue with work. Thank you so much, Mr. Nguwi, for this opportunity. I think we can proceed to the stage where we look at the actual system.
Should I confirm you can see something on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is the landing page that you see when you log in, the dashboard that you're going to see, which is basically I have not gone through the login and the administrative panel, which David and Chido most of the time will be able to do. Should you want a demo of the system or you want to pilot test the system? So when you go in there for the company, you can see there, you can see the overall KPI performance. This is your what you were calling task performance or output based or results based. That's the overall there that you are seeing there. You can also see the breakdown of the performance by perspective if you are using the balance scorecard. Maybe before I go further, you'll notice that the system allows you to come up with various types of performance management system. You may want to not to put this into perspectives. You just want to track goal, KPI, and target, very simple system. Or you may want to just track the KPI, target, and things like that. It can be customized. If you go to the settings there, you'll be able to change the system automatically and put it there. For example, you may want to use the scorecard at the higher level, but as you go down, you may want them to be able to simplify. The system will allow you to simplify that. So if you come here, you'll see that this is action plans there that you can see there, and also what has been cancelled. This is a summary of the action plans. Quick links to some of the things that I will talk about. So that's the visualization. You can go deeper into the performance by just looking at. If I come to revenue there, that is the revenue score, how we are doing on the revenue. This is the actual performance score, but I can also look at the actual. Remember, this is revenue growth. It's actually looking at revenue growth versus the target. So you can see the rest is the target there. There's a baseline and a stretch. You can see how we are doing there. And remember, this is a demo account. You can also use more advanced analysis, which is called the control limits. And these control limits, what they're showing there is that if your performance is within the upper and lower control limit, it means there's not really been any serious variation in performance that warrants a decisive action from management, because it's within what are called normal controls, but it's used in statistics. But If you're in a boardroom and you're looking at the company performance, it may actually be able, even if there's a dip in performance, you must just go to the control limit and say, has there been anything outside the control limits that we must worry about? Okay, you can also, so for you to see all these graphs, you can actually just click at it's just looking at the indicators that are there. So you can look at the various indicators that you want and then look at how they are performing. Under the various sections that I talked about, the actual score, the performance score, actual score, then the control limit, which is the more advanced version of it. You can also come here and look at the summary. Remember, we're still the landing page. Under financial, how are we doing in terms of performance? This is the actual performance. Customer, it's also showing you there. Internal process, you can see the cycle time is below in red there. Learning and growth, we are not adhering to the development plans. Then you can also go deeper and come into and look at the KPIs themselves. What we are calling winning KPIs, where are we doing extremely well in terms of changes in performance? Which are the lows in KPIs? You can see all those in red. It means there's not growth that is happening there. The improvements are not happening in those lows in KPIs. Then stagnant KPIs, you can also see them there. There's not so much movement that is happening there. You can go to this. Imagine you are in an executive meeting and this is what you're doing. Instead of actually going and talk about all those other things that may not be a priority to your business, you can actually look at these landing pages. Basically, finish your ManCom or executive meeting just by looking at the corporate scorecard. And I will show you the drill down functionalities for you to drill down to look at other issues. So you can see there, it also allows you to look at your top performers. You can say Benny Jacks there is a top performer with a score of 78. It also looks at the watch list. Who are the people that you must watch? 2 members who need attention. These are the people that need attention based on their performance. They are not yet in an area where they're irretrievable, but you need to pay attention to them. You can also look at those that need improvement, the team members requiring immediate support. Nancy White there and Wilfred Mandu there, you can see the people there. If you click there, it will take you to their scorecard, but I don't want to go to the scorecard at this stage. So at a quick glance, you can see all these things. This is what you can basically play around with this. If you don't want to go deeper into the performance, you can come here and say, okay, let's look at the drill down and see. You can actually go and drill down and see where is the problem coming from. You can see Bill is the CEO, but he's got other people in various departments. You can drill down and move around this and say, okay, that's Bill there. If I look at Bill, this will probably be your top team reporting to the CEO. Here we just did the dummy. So you can see here, who is affecting Bill's performance in a very negative way. You can see there's Wilfred Mandu there. And Wilfred is being affected by Nancy White, much bigger. That's where the issues are. So you can see, you can track that the performance that is affecting the CEO up there is actually mainly coming from Wilfred's department there, as you can see, and mainly Nancy. And you can, if we put more information, we can drill down until we get to a stage where you say, okay, this is where the problem is in terms of performance. So all these can be, you can actually drill down and see what is happening. So that's the drill down that we can do. And this happens at every level. It could be your department. As long as you've got people reporting to you, you can actually drill down. But if you want to be more strategic, maybe you're presenting to the board, you can actually come here and see how your strategy is doing. Okay, this is a strategy map that is there, as you can see there. Because we don't have too many measures, it's showing you those that are valid, and also automatically through AI, it's actually showing you the key insights that are coming out of your strategy map. The strategy map helps you, it's called a validation process that you use to say, okay, we've been collecting information about performance for the first 5 months. And is there any relationship between those? For example, when you look here, you may find that succession planning has no relationship basically with anything. But when you look at defect rate, it has got a relationship with the incidence of IR cases. You can see there, although negative at 0.06. Then when you look at the rate of compliance versus adherence to development plans, a very weak, almost zero relationship exists there. No, it's actually a higher relationship, 0.7. So you can see, but if it was real information, this will be really very dynamic and interesting to see. It tells you what you are doing in one part, is it impacting what is happening in another part? For example, if you look at learning and growth, what we are doing in learning and growth, is it affecting our customer? Is it affecting our internal process? Is it affecting our financial? All that put together will come into this strategy, a validation map. You can also, I think when you come here, let me see, okay, I'll come to it. I wanted to take a shortcut to that. If you come here on sorry, I got to the same issue. Let me go back. Okay, let me just try again and go there. Just 1 minute there. The correlation sets. Okay, I'll leave it there. So that's the dashboard that you get at the beginning, but you can actually go there and drill further and look at many other things that are there. You can see the various departments at a glance. I can choose Benny Jack's scorecard. That's the one that will show just now. You can see Benny Jack's is now showing there. And that is his scorecard. I can also see his performance. At a glance, this is what you can see. You can go to business units, you can go to departments, you can go to individuals and drill down the same way we were seeing the landing page. You can do that for every individual within your organization, and that's the beauty about that. But you can also come here and say, okay, where did this information come from? We want to look at the scorecard. In this case, I will call it my scorecard, which is the CEO's scorecard. I can come here, you can see the full scorecard here, which is summary, the full scorecard. It also shows the performance there, the action plans there. You can see there's an action plans. Let me cut there, I'll come there. Action plan score 56%. Behavioral, if you are measuring behavioral, like your values and everything. On the extreme right there, you can see these are the weights in terms of performance weights. You can come here on the financial perspective. If you want to add a goal, this is the process. You can add a goal. Here, you add a goal that you want. Let's say grow. I'll just put a fictitious goal, grow new revenue. You can add a goal there under grow new revenue. Then ask you what kind of KPIs do you want? Revenue. I'll put revenue from the new sources, okay, or new source of revenues, currents, reporting frequency. I'll leave it there, it's already there. Baseline, I may say 200,000. Stretch, I may put there 350,000. Okay, it will need a weight, but I'm just doing randomly there and save. Okay. I failed to save because it's actually your allocation have exceeded 100% weight because your weights can't exceed 100%. But I just wanted to show you how you can add because we had already added the weight. So for you to be able to add that goal, it means you need to adjust the weights on the other goals and create room for that particular one. That's how you add the goals. So you can add the goals. So you can see it's saying there is no measure. Click here to add the measure. You can edit, you can go add, you can delete. So I'll delete that goal because we're just doing a dummy there. So you can see under the goal, you've got a goal, KPI, unit of measurement, reporting frequencies. How often do you report on this? Target period, the BT is the baseline target. The moment you over there to explain, then you can see there's a stretch target. You also have actuals. These are the actuals, allocated weight. If you want to go and see trends, remember those graphs that we were seeing on the other side, you can actually go there straight from here. The score, your action plans, the goal score, you can see there, this is the same, the goal score and the action, the score and the goal score are the same, but they're focusing on these output or results-based measures. So you will see when you go to the action plans. So you can see all the measures. The typical scorecard is there. The typical scorecard at the bottom, the summary of performance is showing you how you've done on your KPIs, which is 49%, and how you've done on your action plans, which is 56%. You can add comments there. Whatever comments you want to add, you can add there, and you can add the comments. It's a comment sent to the supervisor. You can see the comment has been sent to the supervisor. So that's how you look at the scorecard. Very dynamic. You can come here. Let me go up there and come to to this one and say, okay, let me look at the actuals. If you want to add the actuals, you can add the actuals. But on this one, I think there is obviously a problem. Let me go to this one. Yeah, you can see if you want to add the actual for December, but this is because it's a dummy, it means I can come here and put a 2, then it will save automatically into that. And you can see that sign that was looking like Al Jazeera there, it's disappearing because the actual has been updated. So whenever you see that sign, it sees some actuals are missing for past periods. So that's the sign there. So that's how you enter the actuals. You can come here again, enter, and put 12 there. And when the moment I click there, it's automatically saved, and you can see that is disappearing from there. So that's how you look at the scorecard. Very dynamic scorecard there. You may want to come here and also explore. You can explore there. What do you want to submit, archive, and all this download and things like that? You can do those. But when I come here, let me go to. I wanted to go to the action plans. You can see where it says action plans. I'll click the action plans for this particular role. You can see the action plans. Action, I didn't indicate perspective, but it must indicate perspective. Who is allocated to that? The start date, due date, progress, outstanding. Outstanding it shows you when the action plan was set, how many days since that action plan was set and it's still outstanding, it has not been completed. You can see the days there. The reason is that the time was set a while ago. Then it shows the priority, impact that you expect. Is there a budget? You can attach a budget and things like that. So you can see that's how the action plan works there. But under the action plan, you can see all of them. Like now, you can see completed ones. You can see those that are on hold. You can see those that are in progress. You can see those that have been cancelled. You can also those that are still to be done. So I'll come back to there and say, okay, what else do I want to see in the action plan? You can filter those action plans. You can see, you can filter, you can create tasks under these action plans. All these things you can do within the action plans. So I'll close that and maybe go back to the home page. So you can have subordinate scorecard. These are the subordinate scorecard. These are the different departments. If I come to human resources, who is there and back, I can see the scorecard that have been archived. I can see the action plans that have been put there. And action plans, again, you can see the action plans as a board where you can move. For example, you'll be able to say, this has now been completed. So you just drag it and move it there. This is what was on hold. It's now in progress. You move it there and things like that. But when we set up, we also try to avoid a situation where someone, because they're going for a meeting in the executive, they say it's completed. Then after that, they move it to here where it, or to cancel, or they move it to here where it has not been done. So we'll set all those guidelines and parameters to make sure that we limit abuse of information. Remember, this information needs to be very reliable because it's used to make decisions. You can also look at view as a summary. How are we doing? How many have been cancelled? You can see there. How many have been completed? All these things. You can go deeper and look at that. So I will now hand over to David to look at the reporting side. David, if you can go, are you ready to go into the reporting so that I can exit?
Yes, sure, that's fine.
Okay, I'm exiting.
All right, please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. So over and above the other features that Mr. Nguwi was exploring, we've got other features that I will just take you through. I will start by reporting and analytics, which will drive your insights. Then I will look at just a few basic features around human resources. Then just security features that we also spoke about under the 5 key pillars. Reporting and analytics is quite a powerful feature in the system that will help you get a bit more insights with regards to your data. So it contains a set of visualizations that can help you understand your business better. So what I'm seeing here is we've got different KPIs across different perspectives. Like on the financial side, We've got revenue growth, cost reduction, net profit margin growth, and budget variance. And you can actually choose to expand the chart and be able to zoom in on a particular month's figures. If we collapse this one, we can actually see cost reduction and how it's trending month on month. Here we've got data from December 2023 to December 2024, and the scores that we are seeing here. What we see here actually percentages. Then we can see our net profit margin growth is also trending in percentage terms. Month on month, you see that similar charts actually exist for different other KPIs from customer satisfaction index, market share growth, innovative products, net promotion score, and so forth. Then across all other perspectives, other reports to look at the KPI trends reports. Okay, this feature is then for downloading the trends reports. Then performance drill downs were actually already covered by Mr. Nguwi. So you see that these modules are actually complementary. Then action plans drill downs were also covered in terms of how much progress we're making in terms of completing projects from the top up to the list level within the hierarchy. Then you can actually be able to look at summary performance reports for different employees. Here you can see that you can choose to see from as low as 10 entries to as much as 50 entries. But the table basically then summarizes basic employee demographics and the key numbers underlying them. So here you've got the employee, benchmarks, you've got their email, you see how they scored on the financial perspective, customer, internal processes, and then on learning and growth or organizational capacity. Then you also see their average overall score. Then you can actually click here to see their full scorecard so that you can see how these scores are broken down across particular goals and key performance indicators. Then actually able to download the summary report as well. You can also download by department as well. Then we can come to summary reports. You're able to actually look at summary reports for different organizations, for different particular periods. You can actually create them within the system by picking particular employees. For example, if you want to just get for software developers, you just tick for all software developers, then you've got a summary report for them. For organizations that are in the financial service sector, if you want to see average performance possibly in one place for bank tellers only, you can just tick your bank tellers and be able to come up with a summary KPI reports that you understand how they are performing. There are also company-wide performance reports that you can also view. Then to look on the HR side, this is the part where you actually introduce employees into the system. So if you've got a small number of people, you could type them manually by clicking new employee, then you populate all the fields and save. But if you've got a large number of people, especially for large organizations, you might export the employee list from Berliner into Excel, then you import it from Excel into the system so that you don't have to type the employee demographic information manually. Then also under human resources, you can set up your business units. You can also set up your teams. For example, if you've got a large finance team where you say this team is for treasury, this team is for accounts payables, this team is for accounts receivables, etc. You can set it up here so that when you measure performance, you can also create scorecards and track performance at team level or at SBU level as well. The system has got a comprehensive help function where you can actually see the documentation on how to interact and navigate the system. Then with regards to settings, you can also change a couple of settings from changing the organization's logo, creating roles so that you can then set security at different levels to ensure that people see only what they're supposed to see. Then you can also set up your perspectives here, departments, as well as general settings. In terms of your rating scales, does red means good in your organization, amber, bad performance, and is green good performance, and is blue or platinum, exceptional performance, and so forth. You can actually set it here. Then access controls are very key in terms of restricting people to only see what they are supposed to see in the system. So this is where you allocate roles to employees. Then you can tick what they're supposed to see. Personal information, it means they only see their own performance data, or it means they've got access to all the system data, then personal and department means they might actually be able to just see personal and department. So the system has got all these interesting features. I think I'll end here to ensure that we've got enough time to handle question and answers.
Okay, we are done, James.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, maybe the other issue that we didn't highlight is both we showcased the system with already data, but there is also another way of setting up everything in the system, which is really automated and AI driven. If you've got a strategy and you load it into the system, it will set up the goals for the CEO. It will cascade the same goals to the HR through the integrated system that is in the system to all the direct report to the CEO. You approve them, it can cascade the whole HR scorecard to the P team that reports to HR as long as the organogram and the reporting relations have been done, so that there is alignment of the top level goals. So it's a sophisticated system for making sure that each goal from the bottom is supporting a goal up or supporting a goal horizontally. And maybe in the other session, we would then show them a blank where we are starting to set up. And we use that model. Maybe next week, if you can, or a week after, we can then run that model for those that would be interested in that. Because I do know that people struggle with setting goals and everything, but we have got automated system for doing that. That version can actually do that. For now, I think we can take questions. Are there any questions? Okay, it seems there are no questions. Okay, thank you so much. So if you want a demo, you can just email ipc@ipcconsulting.com. Chido, if you can put our email address in the chat, then people can take can email us or email directly to me, nguwi@ipcconsulting.com. There are two options that we have. We can give you, we can actually do a demo to your top team. To see, so that they can see whether this will solve any of their business problems. Then secondly, once after that demo, we can also give you a trial run, okay, a trial run. The third option is that where we give you a trial run that runs the CEO scorecard and the CEO's direct reports only. There's another option where we actually just do it for HR department, just so that they can familiarize themselves with the system. We also can give you a trial run just to run the system within the HR department alone, for those that have sizable HR departments. Okay. Titi, you've got a question? Titi Tumbare?
Yes, I have a question. So the
Yes.
system, if we sign up, I wanted to know if you are open to saying the cost in this meeting, or I have to consult privately.
I think it depends with the size of the organization and the scope of who is going to be covered, and also the support that you require. But most of the things, really, once you get on the system, is self-explanatory. So there's some penetration that we need to do depending on the scope of what we want covered. So I would say it's context dependent. It depends with each organization.
My second question is it live and locked within the organization, or it's with IPC? And I constantly have to ask IPC for like administration.
It can reside on your own servers, or it can reside in the cloud on the IPC server. But we normally recommend that you actually have it on your own servers. So you don't necessarily have to rely on IPC. When they are, most of the time when we get people who then call us, it's mainly to do with some customization that they would require that is specific to their organization. Most of the time, once they are on it, you run and you run for good with no issues at all. Yeah, so someone was also asking, is the trial run paid for? The trial run is free. We can actually give you up to 6 months, in some cases a year, depending on the scope and the seriousness of the organization. We can actually give you a trial run. That's how confident we are. Okay. Any other question? Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I want to find out, let's say an organization is in the process of also automating its performance appraisal system, and we wanted to borrow some of your elements that we have presented, how do we go about it?
Because remember, our system is already, it automates all the appraisals. So once because of time, we couldn't cover all that. Once, remember when I opened a window that was showing actuals, to put actuals where I was putting actuals, the moment you put that, it automatically gives you an assessment. And there's also a space for you to put supporting evidence, your actual attached documents. The supervisor, once you've done that, the scorecard goes to the supervisor who validates that the information that you have put in there is actually credible. Okay, but if you're using the behavioral one, you can also have the 360 done within the same system. It's actually borrowing from our other sister system, so on the 360. But it's an end-to-end system with the appraiser already in there. So I don't know how we would do, not knowing the extent of what you have done and what are the gaps. Maybe an offline discussion, we can see whether there is scope to integrate what we have already done internally with this one. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, if there are no questions, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.